I'm going to show you how I set up my table saw. When I make nukes or when I make hive boxes, I don't use a finger joint or box joint, depending on whatever you prefer to call it, whatever part of the country or the world you're in. I don't use a butt joint. What I use is just a simple rabbet joint. Okay, I rabbet the end pieces. I rabbet 3/8 or roughly half the thickness. Yes, I'm using plywood. Don't want to hear it. I'm just using up some stuff. This stuff had already sit out in the rain for a year. Okay, so don't talk to me about delaminating. Yeah, it can happen, but we're going to put some spar urethane on these things to make them last longer. At least that's the plan. Okay? But take a rabbet, about half the thickness of the plywood, and on the sides, and what these are to make them fit, okay, they're 6 7/8 inches wide. These are the end pieces, by the way. 6 7/8 inches wide, and standard medium frame 6 5/8 high. Okay. Now on the sides, we're going to need a 3/4 inch rabbet joint on each side. Okay. And so what I do is I've got this set. I set my fence for 5/8 because my blade is roughly 1/8 of an inch thick. And then I work it from there, okay? So what's going to happen is this. I'm going to fire up a saw. Okay, and I'm going to make a pass. Now, since I'm just working on setting the saw up right now, I'm not going to, you know, I'm just going to make the one cut, okay? And that is roughly 1/4 of an inch. Okay, and then you take and you measure from the edge of the plywood, and that's just almost perfect. I'm going to move it about a 1/16 or so. What I do is I set the depth, or not the depth, but the width first. Okay. Okay. So we're going to measure this again right from the inside, the outer edge. Just a tad more, okay? I just sneak up on my setting. Okay? I'm not real sure I understand what's going on here. Anyway, that's about 3/4 of an inch. Now, as you can see, I'm not roughly halfway yet. I'm about 1/4 of an inch, so I'm going to raise my blade up. Okay. And what I did is I did about a round, and I'm going to make another pass. Okay. Now, you can see that cuts a little bit deeper. I'm going to take and I'm going to do that. I'm going to measure that now. Look. Okay. Next. Okay. Just a tad under, so let me. You can get perfect. It don't have to be perfect, but you can get it perfect. So we take, and that's 3 out. Okay. So good. All right. There's that. Now what we're going to do, we're going to fire the saw up. We're going to do okay. So we've got that cut, same identical cut on both sides. Okay. mistake that I have made in the past, and you want to watch out. Okay? There's only about 1/4 of an inch difference in the width and the length of this piece. Make sure 3/4 inch. Now when you go to cut your rabbit up here for your frame rest, those are only going to be 5/8 of an inch deep. Okay, that's why we're not cutting those right now. Okay, and I'll show you that in a second. Okay, so we got that. That's 3/4 of an inch. Now we're going to back down, and that should be really close to. Okay, see all of those? Again, turn it the same way. All right. So what we're going to do is now we got to do the frame rest. Okay. Same idea, but I've nudged my fence in. Okay, let's see how close we can get. I've used this saw enough that I can usually get pretty close the first time around. And the good thing is doing it in this order, you're not actually having to adjust your depth of cut every single time. Okay, you're still at 3/8 of an inch depth of cut. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to measure, and that's perfect. Like I said, I've used this saw enough that I can get pretty close. I know where I need to set my fence usually for a certain size. Okay, see there? I'll try that again. Sorry, I thought it had slipped out a little bit. Anyway, okay, we do all of these. If you set up a cut, you set it up one time, it's not going to take you much longer to make 10 or 15 of these things, or 50 or whatever, than it does to make one. Simply because you set up a certain cut one time, and then you cut every single piece that needs that identical cut. You cut every piece. Okay? And then, after you do that, then you change over a cut. Okay? Now, so what's going to happen next is I have to cut like that. Okay, right now I've got a 3/8 depth of cut. Well, I'm making a 3/8 rabbit here. So what I need is I set my fence so that there's 3/8 of an inch between my fence and the fence side of the blade. Okay? And let's see here. I think I can do this. Yeah, I do this freehand. Sometimes a mistake will happen, but so this first one, let me turn the blade up. This first one is only going to be 3/8 of an inch, this first cut. So I'm going to use this one piece to gradually adjust the height of my blade until I get all of this cut out. And then it's just going to leave a rabbit all the way across. Okay, so we start it off like this. See what we've got? Now, as you can see, we've got just a little bit of material in there that hasn't been worked out yet. Now, all we do, I'm going to do about a half a turn. All right. Another half turn. There we go. Okay. Yeah, we're not there yet. tad more. There we go. And if you cut this just a little bit too deep, don't worry about it. Because what's going to do is you're going to leave a little trough inside there. That's going to give you a place for glue. Okay? And it'll make your joint. Oh, see? You probably just caught my mistake. This is the frame rest. There's not going to be any glue there. But anyway, we're cutting those 5/8. 5/8 by 3/8. Okay? See that? How nice and neat that is? You got 3/8 of an inch of material. And like I said, we adjusted for this cut. So you go ahead and do every piece. Every piece needs that same cut. Piece of cake. So we're going to finish these up and we'll get back with you. Okay. See, now that cut. Okay. Now, we'll reset these. And we've got to cut, now we're going to cut out our rabbits. Okay. Now, we can take, everything else is the same, okay? So we can take and run this one time. Guess what happens though? That was only set for 5/8. Now that'll break out, but see, you got a little piece in there. Okay, you don't want that. So, once again, a half a turn at a time until I get real close. And I just use the saw blade to hog that little bit out. Okay? One more time. Now that's the rabbit cut. See there? Piece of cake. And then you turn it. Make sure that it's flush up against the fence. Isn't that nice? Very. And now all you gotta do is do the same thing with all the rest of it. There. Perfect. If you're consistently making, if you see a consistent mistake on these pieces, then it seems like you're doing several, 2, 3 of them, and you're seeing the same mistake. Yeah, it doesn't hurt to go ahead and make a little adjustment just to straighten it out. But if 1 out of 10 comes up, you know, a 64th of an inch off on one end or the other or something somehow, don't worry about it. I guarantee you, your bees are not going to complain. That's it. Okay, we're going to finish these up and then we'll be right back.